On today's episode, we have Trixie Overcashier. She is the former Mrs. Minnesota International, author of 2 books, mother of 3 and grandmother of 2, and is part of John C. Maxwell's leadership team of motivational speakers and coaches. She loves to read, write, work out, volunteer at charity events, travel, and meet new people. One of her mottos in life is, "You can't be perfect, but you can be perfectly you." Trixie, thanks for coming on the show today. It's great to have you.
Hey, thanks, Sean. It's good to be here.
So for the first part of the show, I want to hear your story. Tell us a little bit about you, where you've been, and what led you to where you are today.
Well, that's like a big deal. I'm 50 years old, so I've got a lot of history here. But I have recently moved to Texas from Minnesota. I figured I spent my first 50 years there, and now I'm going to spend my next 50-something years here. And, I was an entrepreneur at a very young age. I used to run around my neighborhood with a wagon full of my junk and sell it to the people, sell it to the other kids and such. And I would have the Kool-Aid stands and the backyard carnivals and sell candy from my locker. So I've always been, had that entrepreneurial spirit. And I started my first company when I was about 19 years old. And it took pictures of kids with Santa Claus at Macy's, downtown Minneapolis. So that was a really great gig because I only worked 2 months out of the year. And I made a 6-figure income with that company and did that for 25 years. So that was awesome. It kept me home with my kids. I started having kids young. I was 20 when I had my first son. So when you say grandmother, I just kind of go, oh my gosh, he's talking about me. So yes, they call me Mima, and I absolutely love it. All my family is still up in Minnesota, so I'm back and forth quite a bit, but it's absolutely wonderful. And then I found the company that I'm currently with when I was about 32 years old, and I found it by accident. My daughter had asthma and allergies, and my son had allergies. And so I was just looking for a natural solution to help my family's health. And I stumbled across this company and really just became a customer and got very passionate about the products. And what's cool about that is then it kind of mixed with what my college degree was in health science. And so that matched with my entrepreneurial spirit. Voila, my business was born. So that's been really fantastic. So I've always worked for myself. Now I have had odd jobs over the years. I think this one always, cracks people up. But when I was 16 years old, I was trained by the Disney Corporation as a costumed character. And so, yes, I would dress up in a costume and I would run around. Now, I'm sure y'all have heard of Chuck E. Cheese. Well, I was the first Chuck E. Cheese in Minnesota, and then I went on to train all the other Chuck E. Cheeses and all the other costume characters. So that's something that's been fun for me, basically all throughout my life, Sean, and it's just been a neat experience. And now currently today, I'm not dressing up in the animal costumes, but I do dress up as a professional clown. Now that cracks a lot of people up, I know, but it's a pink clown. I call her Love Bug, and I do charity events for that. It's really just my way to give back. It makes me feel so good. The name Trixie means bringer of joy. And so I believe that my purpose in life is really just to bring people joy. And that's what I do through my books. That's what I do through my trainings. That's what I try to do through my business. And just when I meet people, in networking events or along the way. So it's all pretty exciting. And as I mentioned, I turned 50 last September and moved to Texas, just up and moved, not knowing a soul. Okay, I don't recommend that, but it's been quite an experience, and I've learned a lot about myself, and I've learned a lot about people, and I absolutely love Texas. I love the Texas people. I love the weather. I am definitely home here, so it's been awesome.
So what exactly inspired you to move down to the Austin area from Minnesota?
Well, I was doing some demographics. I do have a great wellness business up in Minnesota. So I have literally over 4,100 customers shopping with our program. So I thought I want to create in Texas what I have in Minnesota in just a fraction of the time. So as I was doing the demographics and really looking at it, the Austin area is very high on the fitness level. So a lot of workout facilities, a lot of these boot camps, a lot of people trying to work out. But I think they're lacking the nutrition side of things and the quality of products and really the concept of detoxifying the home. So I'm looking at helping people be well from the inside out. And so I thought this was just a really prime area to move to. And again, the people have just been really open to the idea, open to the shopping program. So it's just been a huge blessing. And I know from the get-go that it was absolutely the right decision.
Yeah, and you mentioned Inside Out, and I know you have a couple of books, and they seem to focus on that Inside Out concept. Can you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit more about your books and what they're all about?
Certainly. I blog, and so the website is TrixieInsideOut.com, and that's really my philosophy of really coming at life from the inside out. So my first book I published back in 2007, and it's called Beauty Inside Out, and it's actually a weight loss journal. So what I do is I sell that book online. I sell it for half price. It's not a big moneymaker for me. And then I offer a free online weight loss program, and I offer that about 4 times a year. It's been extremely successful. Last summer, we had 121 women go through the program. And then just in January, we had another 56. So we're just about to launch another one here for June. I'm pretty excited. And then we'll do another one again in the fall, of course. But just for me, it's my ministry. It's very rewarding to help people make those types of changes. I don't think it's just a weight loss issue. I think it's a mindset. I also think it's very spiritual. I think there's a lot of things going on. We're very emotional about food. And so I try to help, create a new lifestyle with people all through my program. So that's been just a really fun thing for me to do. And then I just launched my book this time, actually last year, called Brave Inside Out. And it's really a workshop that I used to do to help people become a more effective and authentic speaker, whether it's in front of a small group of people, a medium-sized group, or a large group. And it just really kind of sharpens the saw. It sharpens you and makes you a better speaker and a better communicator. And I think it also helps boost people's confidence. When we know better, we can do better in all aspects of our life. So the Brave Inside Out brings that piece to it, and I absolutely love doing it. So I'm working on the third book, still kind of fluctuating in what that looks like. But my last 4 years, I've gone through a huge life change. And so my next book, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm going to name Harmony Inside Out and try to find peace in your life, even in the storms. So stay tuned. That's still to come.
That's cool. We get a little preview there.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your program that you have going on. There's another one starting in June.
Right.
If somebody's interested in getting involved in that, what's the best way to find out more about that?
Yep, the best way is probably just to contact me. And you can do that through my Trixie Inside Out website. Go ahead and go to the website, click on the Beauty Inside Out book. If you want to, throw the Brave in your cart as well. But focus on that the Beauty Inside Out book, and that actually will register you for the program. Don't go to Amazon.com. I am on there, but evidently some other people are selling my book on there for like $35 and $45. I'm like,
yeah.
What? Are people buying that?
That happens. I don't know how that happens.
It just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Somebody else is going to ride on the coattails of all my work? It cracks me up. But whatever. That's why I send people to my website to get it. But that will register them for the program, and then they'll receive an email. We've got a Facebook community that's very supportive to share, just that accountability, recipes, and really kind of share like how we're doing and how much weight we're losing. And then each week they receive a little video clip from me. I try to do those, spontaneously and live each week, and then send them out like on Wednesdays just to keep them accountable. And I really recommend that 2 or 3 gals go through the course. I do have a couple of guys, believe it or not, that are going through the course too. And it's kind of funny because my book is geared towards women. So I have some girly talk in there, and I'm just like, just ignore that. And then we also add the caloric intake. We up that a little bit because I don't know why God created us this way, but you guys get to eat more calories. So what's up with that? But anyway, so that's probably the best way to do it, is just to go to my website.
Okay, so I want to take it back just a little bit, just because I'm curious. I forgot to ask this question earlier, but so I mentioned in the intro that you were the Mrs. Minnesota International,
right?
And I also saw that you served 2 platforms, date violence and breast cancer awareness. So could you tell me a little bit about those and what that experience was like?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a rough dating relationship when I was in high school. It lasted for about 1 year and 4 months. And out of that came my own personal experience with, unhealthy relationships in dating. And so when I was looking at becoming Mrs. Minnesota, I started my journey in 1996. You heard that my title was in 98. So I actually competed 2 years before I actually got the title. And I'm glad, because I think when you are training so hard, you're training your brain about who you are and how you feel about certain topics. And we were actually judged in fitness, and that was 1/4 of the score. And then we were judged in our poise and personality and evening gown. And then the half of our score went to the interview process. And then we would all compete, and there was 32 contestants, and we would all compete in that. And then they would pick the normally top 10, but we had so many contestants, they picked the top 12. And then we recompeted. So again in fitness, again in gown, and then in the on-stage presentation that we had for our platform. And again, mine was date violence at that time. And so I was the only one, evidently, in their history who has won all 3 categories and then turned around and won the title too. So that's kind of my claim to fame. But it was really a wonderful experience. Once again, learning a lot about myself, learning a lot about other people, how to serve others. And a unique piece about my particular year is the queen that was before me had lost her battle to breast cancer 1 month before she gave up her title. And I just really felt, once that I became the representative for Minnesota, that I had a duty to carry on her message about breast cancer awareness. So it was a lot of work. It was all volunteer. If I ever made any money, I always donated it back to whatever charity I was working with. But it was extremely rewarding and taught me so much. But, I fell in love with speaking to people and helping them in that capacity. So that's really where my whole speaking career kind of took off. And I thought, this is the avenue I definitely want to take to be able to give back. So wonderful experience. And sometimes people say, oh, you're a beauty queen. I'm like, I never really think of myself that way. No, ours was more beauty with a purpose, or beauty with a platform. It wasn't so much as what you look like. It's more of the whole package, how you present yourself, and how you perform, and how what kind of servanthood you can serve, and that type of thing. So anyway, wonderful experience. And, I was opened up to so many things that the normal person doesn't get to do. And my kids were involved in that. I brought them on every type of event that I could possibly do. I had over 100 appearances in my year. So it isn't just waving in parades. I mean, it was a lot of hard work and just a really great experience. So yeah, that's in my back pocket.
Okay, and that seems like that really set you up kind of and launched you towards doing what you had mentioned before about doing some ministry and some speaking. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you do with your speaking part of your business?
Absolutely. So because of that, once that launched for a couple of years, I was always asked to, come and speak for groups, and I was coming to speak for events. I emceed a lot of events, which was very fun and that sort of thing. But usually what I do is, if a company or an organization has a specific topic that they want me to talk on. I'm thinking of one that comes to mind. It was a multi-level marketing company, and they had heard of me, and they asked me to come speak to their representatives on forgiveness. And I thought, wow, that's awesome. I love to speak on that topic. I have studied that, fervently. So that would be great. So I arrived to the event, and I was sitting in the back, and the speaker that was before me got up, and she said, hey, everyone, welcome. I've been invited here to speak about forgiveness today. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my topic. My stomach sank. I thought, oh my gosh, there's been some mistake. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I kind of reached over to the gal who was the organizer, and I said, hey, can you come out in the hall? And I mean, must have had panic all over my face. And I said, you asked me here today to speak on forgiveness. Her face just went white. She goes, oh my gosh, didn't they get back to you? And I said, no, they did not get back to me. And she said, oh no, we switched your topic. And I'll tell you what, I think about it now, and I'm really excited that it was a challenge that was put in front of me. And I was like, all right, what's my topic, And she gave me my topic, and I went up there, and it was as if I had studied for that topic. I think somebody else jumped into my body, and just all the books that I read and all the, things that I do. Now, I didn't have any slides to follow, but I don't know if you can tell at all, but I'm a little animated. So my facial expressions and all those kinds of things really, really pulled through. But I just shared from my heart. And, people were crying and they were laughing, and I just felt real great purpose from it. And that was actually my first opportunity to sell my book on, right there. And as the people were coming out, I thought, if I sell a couple of books, that would be great. There was a lineup. There was like 50 participants, and I sold 60 books. So some of them were buying 2 and 3 of them, and I was signing a personal note, which I do for my books. I sign a personal note in the beginning of every one. I just am like, okay, Lord knows you. I don't know you, but go ahead and just tell me what this person needs to hear. And I write it in the front of the book and send it out. But it was just an incredible experience, and that just came alive for me. So I don't really promote myself the way that I probably should or could for that. But I did go take it a step further and went and got certified by my mentor and my favorite author, which is John C. Maxwell. If you've never read one of his books, my goodness, please go. A great book is Failing Forward. That's a great starter book, but he's just an expert on leadership, and he's got a great foundation and such. So I took the time, I want to say it was in 2011, perhaps, that I flew out to Florida. I got to go to his home, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience of weeks and weeks of training. But now I'm certified to speak on any of his topics and coach people on the subjects of his topics. But it just added to me, I think, to be able to help other people. And what a great experience. So yeah, I love speaking. I do it for my company now as well. And so I do wellness workshops. I do business workshops. I teach people how to, meet people in the cold market. I love to do networking type talks and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just awesome. And again, people can go to my site and book me there. So
you kind of mentioned it towards the end there. And your focus right now is on your wellness business. And right now you have a multi-million-dollar business, and you're in the top 50 of the businesses in your company, and it's focused all around your wellness. So could you tell me a little bit more about this wellness business that you're involved in right now?
Yeah, sure. So the business model that I work with is called consumer direct marketing. It's very unique. So it's not a multi-level marketing concept like most home businesses are. We aren't distributors. We don't have to sell product or keep an inventory or anything. Ours is more on educating the client or the customer on a healthier lifestyle, and perhaps on natural solutions. So my philosophy is to help to detoxify their home and their body at a reasonable price. So it kind of works like an Amazon Prime with a membership. So my job is to educate them and then to help them set up a membership if that's what they choose to do. And then they get that wholesale pricing for, and the products are a wide range. They have all the nutritional supplements and they have, protein and fiber and those types of things, very high quality, buying directly from the manufacturer. And they also have a full personal care line. They have wonderful essential oils that you can trust to be quality. They have a full pharmacy for over-the-counter type remedies. They have your skincare and cosmetics and those types of things, just all safer for you. And then they have their EcoSense line, which is basically all eco-friendly type products, to clean your home, do your laundry, and that type of thing. And all at a fraction of the cost of what the market is charging. So it's really the best of both worlds. And, the Austin area has been just so overwhelming welcome to this type of a concept that, it's a lot of business coming in. So I am also looking for partners and coaches and consultants that could help me facilitate all these customers that are starting to come in. So that's really what I'm looking for in this area. And again, just trying to get the word out, just trying to brand myself, which is not an easy thing. So just getting out there, trying to meet people like you and in the community to get the word out and to find some really great people.
Yeah, well, that's really great. That is a unique business model because, you don't find very many places where the consumer actually gets to buy the products at wholesale price. That's a really great value, especially in this area, because some people are already focused on that, and they're spending a lot of money trying to keep up with the different things that they need to stay healthy. And so now they get a chance to, if they team up with you to get a chance to get those products at wholesale, that's a really great opportunity. So that's awesome. So for Georgetown advice givers, we like to give the listeners a little bit of advice. And you were mentioning that you have a whole blog set up with lots of advice and on relationships, personal growth, different stuff like that. Can you tell me a little bit more about your blog?
Absolutely. I try to be diverse with it, but you're going to also find that I am an open book. What you see is what you get. I'm doing things a little bit different on the back nine, if you know what I mean. And I just think it's just important. I get a lot of criticism for that. It's interesting. When you're open with your stories and you're open with things. Now, I would not ever want to, gossip or put anybody else down to make me look up. But I am real about my situation. I've been through a divorce after 30 years, and also after serving in ministry, marriage ministry, mind you. So there's a whole lot of, stuff that goes with that. And I am not there blogging trying to say, oh, poor me, and here's my story. No, my blogs are more of what I learned in the healing process. So I think it helps for anybody that grieves to any degree, of any sort of loss. And I'm on the other side now. So I have more compassion than I've ever had in my life for people. And I am a much better listener. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. You do the math. So I encourage people to be a better listener and really listen, not listening, thinking about what's your next question or what's going on with you, but really listening to people. And I have just found, Sean, that so many people are hurting from one thing or another. And the older we get, the more garbage we have. So my philosophy is to teach people to take out the garbage, clean the slate, clear it. And forgiveness is a huge piece of that. If you can really understand the depth of forgiveness, then you will be free. And I believe that that's how we can start fresh and we can start new. So some of my blogs and those types of things, I need help with my newsletter. All these people have signed up for my newsletter and I'm like, oh, I don't even have a newsletter. I need to figure that out. So if somebody out there knows how to do a newsletter, please contact me. I would love the help on that. But I think there's just so much value. We live in a different world now than we did even 10 years ago, but for sure 20 years ago with the internet and with social media and that type of stuff. I've also found that blogging or writing, even if it's not public, is a great healing aspect. When I was going through my grieving, I traveled all over the United States, staying with friends of mine near the ocean, preferably, and I would run. I did crazy things, like I ran a marathon. I'm not a runner. And by the way, I was the last one to finish the marathon. So that story is on my blog. Go see that. That's a crazy story. But, experience life. My goodness, I think so many people are going through their life drifting, or they're going through their life in a fog. And one day they're going to wake up and go, what have I done? I mean, have you ever had a day like that where you just go, what exactly did I do today? We need to live with intention and we need to live with our purpose. And many times people just don't know what that is. So I like to help people with that type of stuff through my blogging and through my writing and through my coaching.
And I think that's a really great point that you brought up there about just writing in general. Like, not enough people do that anymore. I know I'm in the process of starting back up a newsletter for my business, and writing on, I like to tell stories, obviously through doing Georgetown Advice Givers and just personally, writing things out and telling your story, even if whether you're going to show it to other people or not. There's some things that I wrote that I'm like, oh, I'm not going to publish this, but it's such a therapeutic thing. It really helps because you have all these thoughts that go on in your head, and you don't always realize like how it really culminates and how you really think about things until you sit down and actually write it out, and you're like, oh, okay, I really do feel this way about something. And sometimes you discover things that you didn't even know.
Exactly.
So I think that's really great that you're using that, and when you publish some of those stories and you show them to other people and you tell a true story, you're authentic, and you don't sugarcoat things, then other people can really relate to it, and it gets them thinking like, how does that relate to me? And it's really helpful. So I'm glad you have a blog and you're putting that out there. Some people are too afraid to do that, so it's really great that you have that.
Well, Sean, when you do put yourself out there, you put yourself out there. And the problem with that is there are people who are negative. I mean, you can be the ripest peach on the tree, and somebody just doesn't like peaches, So Oh, I have a blog about that. And I've had hate mail. It's ridiculous. I'm like, can you imagine what celebrities go through,
Oh
or,
no.
people who are famous and what they go through? But anytime you put yourself out there and you are under the scrutiny of other people, just be prepared for that. It can't matter. I stopped caring a long time ago about other people's, comments about me. I'm always self-aware, and I'm like, all right, Lord, check me. Can I do better somewhere else? But, you come under somebody else's criticism and you've got to make that not matter. And that in itself is very empowering.
Right. And it's crazy how that minority voice can be so loud. Like when you have that one or two people that don't like you for whatever reason, like, they woke up on the wrong side of the bed that day, but they can have such a loud voice in front of you, and then forget all the, 99% of the people that really enjoyed whatever you had to say.
Right.
It is hard to ignore those people, but you brought up a really good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's time for the lightning round. Now's the part of the show that I like to call Entrepreneurs Want to Know. This is my favorite part of the show because it's where I get to ask you a series of questions that other business owners and entrepreneurs can relate to and learn from. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so what is the biggest aha moment that you've had in your business? A story, if you will, about a milestone point where you felt like you really turned a page.
Okay, so I am loaded with those aha moments because I have 18 years with this company. So, there's moments where I remember specifically, like, oh my gosh, this happened. So one is coming to mind as you're mentioning that, and it was probably in 2009. I even was so passionate about it that I wrote a letter to our CEO apologizing for this feeling or this thought process that I was having. But, I think it's important to figure out how we feel about failure. So when somebody's thinking about failure, either they can have failure over here and success over here, and then that way it's a choice. Either I fail or succeed, fail or succeed. And I think that's a very unhealthy way to look at it. What you have to do is you have to have failure here and you have to have success here so that you understand I have to go through failure to get to success. And so at that time, I was thinking a lot about, oh my gosh, I keep setting these goals and I haven't made this and I haven't made this and I haven't made this. And I'm so upset about this person saying they're going to do something and then not doing it, or this customer not understanding this, or, whatever. And I was getting clouded in my brain. And I picked up a book and I read it. It's the same author from Psycho-Cybernetics. And it taught me all about emotional resilience. And that is a word I would write down, because emotional resilience has taught me so much. So if you are an entrepreneur, if you are in business of any type, this is a lesson that was probably one of the most valuable things that I learned over time. And the next sentence I'm going to say is probably going to hit you right between the eyes. It's not about you. So many times we take things personally, and it has nothing to do with you. Everybody's dealing with their own stuff. And because it affects you, you think, oh my gosh, it has everything to do with me. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. And so we need to be recovering from things that emotionally happen to us. We need to recover quicker. We need to get up, dust ourselves off, understand that failure is part of the process to success, and keep going. So that was a valuable lesson that I carry through and through on emotional resilience.
Perfect. Yeah, you're reminding me of another book that's similar. It's by Scott Adams, How to Fail at Almost Anything and Still Win Big.
Oh,
you ever heard of that one?
I have not, but I'm writing it down.
That's a good one to read. It's Scott Adams, this guy that does the Dilbert comics. He's
Oh,
a great writer. Yeah, he has a really great
okay.
blog as well.
Oh,
But
cool.
it's really interesting, and there's a lot of stuff in there also about health and fitness. It's just all about, like you've been talking about, keeping your mind right in order to be able to look at the failures as not failures, but as just like stepping stones towards success. And he talks about how he's had so many different businesses, and so many of them have failed, but it really only took one in order for him to succeed, and how to get over those failures to focus on that one success.
Exactly. And I think John Maxwell covers that too, like in his Failing Forward. I mean, the book sounds pretty obvious just by the way that he says it. But that's another thing that I would put out there is if you're not reading, you're not leading.
Right.
And, so I have some people say, oh, but Trixie, I'm just not good at reading. Okay, there's books on audio, so get those. And I have put together a list, and I will not put a book on this list unless I myself have read it. And I have this list that I just absolutely swear by as far as, the books that I find, the authors that I love. I love Jack Canfield. Oh my goodness, Success Principles.
Yeah,
it will knock your
great one.
socks off. I bought the book and the audio. And anytime I drive the 17 hours up to Minnesota, that audio is in there. I listen to it over and over and over. And I do mental mindset training, champion mindset training, and those kinds of things. I literally have 3 books right now. Here they are. 3 books that I'm reading right now. And that's what a crazy person I am as far as, feeding my brain and trying to keep things fresh and growing and learning. And I think when you're in business for yourself, that's a very important thing, is to lead by example and lead from the front.
Most definitely. Okay, so back to entrepreneurs. I want to know, let's see here. What has been the hardest point in your business so far, and did you ever feel like giving up?
Oh my gosh. I think I've quit my business at least probably 15 times. And I think that was before I learned about the emotional resilience, just because I would let things get to me. And, I'd throw myself on my bed and throw my little fit and get through it and get over it and all that kind of stuff. But, you just got to stop being disappointed in other people and control what you can. My goodness. We need to stop trying to control other people. Hello, this is for your marriage. This is for your children. I mean, we are there to guide our children and help them. But honestly, once your kids are grown, you've raised them. You're done. Now it's time to be their friend. And same thing with my business partners. When I partner with somebody and I'm helping them build a business from home, for that first 90 days, I am their coach. And what I say goes. When I say jump, you jump, and you ask me how high. But after that 90 days, when I've done my best with training you and passing on the baton, then we become partners. And I don't need to control what you do. I'm helping you and still, partnering with you, but I don't need to control that anymore. And I think too many times we go into that control mode and try to control everything, that's going on. So, not a good thing. But I think probably the toughest part in my business was also in my personal life. When my marriage broke up, it was May of 2012. And as I mentioned, I went into a grieving process. And to be really honest with you, I wasn't able to work. There was even a time where I didn't even write. And I've written all my life. I journal, almost every day. And the writing stopped. I mean, everything stopped. And I just went into survival mode. And thank goodness my business works off of residual income. So I still got a check every single month while I was healing. But then after that period ended, which was about last summer, picking up the baton and starting to work again. So I kind of look at it as a locomotive and starting to shovel that coal. You have to just shovel the coal and shovel. It's a lot of work before you see the train to start moving. Mm-hmm. And so if you've ever stopped your business, or if you've ever had something get in the way where you need to pick up the pieces and go again, or like I said, wipe out the past or wipe out your past failures and start fresh again, you need to start fresh with a fresh mindset, sometimes with a fresh group of people around you, and just some fresh ideas. I believe that we were not created for survival. We were created to be creative. So if you're living in survival mode, you're just living. If you're living in creative mode, you are living. You are really living in a creative lifestyle. And it's beautiful when you figure that out.
Thank you for sharing that story. That was really great. So we've mentioned a lot of books on this podcast already, but if you could only recommend one book to someone, what would that book be?
Okay. Don't smack me in the forehead, but I this might rub some people wrong, but the Bible, duh.
Oh, okay. Great. Yeah.
I start every day with the Bible and with scripture, and I end every night with it as well. And another exercise or activity that I found to be absolutely beneficial and keeps my mind in a positivity. My parents joke and they say that I've always lived in a little bubble, like this own little bubble that everything is good. I don't watch the news on TV. I know that's crazy, but if Michael Jackson dies, please tell me. Just kidding. Sorry. But it's the whole thing of this positivity bubble. And I do a grateful list. So my favorite number is 21. So I always try to do 21 of everything. If I'm going to do, exercises, it's 21 of these. If I'm going to do, 21 minutes of workout, I take a 21-minute nap. Okay, now I'm really crazy. But I think it's important to have 21 things that I'm grateful. And it's interesting because you're like, oh, I'm grateful for the health of my family. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. And then maybe even sometimes you put stuff in there, and that's okay. I'm grateful for my cool car, or, whatever, that's okay. But when you start going down the list, it makes you go deeper. Like things that you are really deeply grateful for. You cannot be in a bad mood if you go and you read this list. So, besides diffusing essential oils in my house to keep my mood good, I read my grateful list. So, that's many times inspired, obviously, by the Bible.
All right, I've got one more question for entrepreneurs who want to know. So I heard this, I have to credit Tim Ferriss, I heard this on his podcast recently, but if you could have a billboard anywhere that says anything, where would it be and what would it say?
Wow. Okay. Oh my gosh.
I know there's so many options, right? It's kind of
There
hard.
is. My mind is just wheeling. I'm an idea girl. So wow, that would be fun. But, I'm thinking about, it's kind of silly, but I just put a sticker on the back of my car. I've never done anything like this before in Minnesota, but I put one of those little stickers on the back of my car because I just wanted to see if it would intrigue people. I think people are so gun shy from having home businesses. And there are some junky businesses out there. And, I tried to help identify those businesses with a 12-point checklist that really identifies what a quality business would be. But so I put on the back of my car, I put a real business, and in parentheses, not MLM. And then I put my website, imaginebalance.com. And then at the bottom, I put something that I would never have put. I think I put something like, don't believe, ? Don't contact or don't call or whatever. So I'm not a negative person, but I think sometimes when you do a takeaway from people, like I'll say, you might not qualify, but this is what I have to offer. And when they go, what do you mean I might not qualify? Wait, well, yes, I will. Then they tend to act. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would put on my billboard. I think it would, and I put it in Austin because this is where I'm looking to expand my business. So I put it on a really busy place. I don't know the roads very well, but I'd pick a really busy road and I'd put it up there, and that's what I would do. And then some kind of a visual. I would need a marketing person to help me with that, but some kind of a visual of maybe frustrations that people feel in their life. Like, I think women are overwhelmed with our schedules and our busyness, but we would like to contribute to the household income. Or sometimes the men are overwhelmed and stressed out because now they have kids, they're trying to take care of their wife and their family, and they're supposed to be the provider, in many thought processes. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be, but many times that's the way that they think. And so this is an opportunity for people to, build a business alongside of what they're doing. If they can replace an income, great. So I would want to be able to cater to both men and women, and definitely in Austin, Texas area.
All right, well, I think that wraps it up for this episode. Before we end the show, though, what is the best way for listeners to get in touch with you?
Well, if they're looking to get in touch with my blog and with my books, the TrixieInsideOut.com website is the place to go. And there's contact information if they want to actually contact me. That's totally fine, too. I am on LinkedIn as well under my name of Trixie Overcashier, so they can connect with me there. But then if they're interested business-wise in the wellness business or just wanting to get extra information about that, the website for that is imaginebalance.com. And there's a place in there that they can contact information as well. So, and if you just want to have coffee and you're in the area, I'm happy to do that too. So, feel free to contact me if you've been moved at all through this wonderful opportunity. And you know what, Sean? Thank you. Oh, yeah, this is a great thing that you're doing, and I'm so glad that I met you.
Yeah, I'm glad I met you as well. This has been really fun. You're going to be, I think, the 10th episode, so it's still just getting started. Okay. But you've been a great guest on the show, and I've really had a good time talking to you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I hope the listeners enjoyed this interview as much as I did. That's it for this episode. And remember, everyone, be different, be useful, and make a difference. Take care. All right. That's it.